Well, welcome back to the workshop, and in this video, this update, I'm back to working on two mandolins. So let me show you what I've been up to. So I guess I'm about halfway through the finishing process on the electric mandolin, and you can see how once you start putting some kind of finish on the wood, how all the colours really pop. So it's looking very, very pretty at the moment. So it had 3 coats of varnish yesterday. I'm just about to cut it back, sand it down using 500 abrasive paper so that you don't put any deep scratches into that finish. And then probably another 3 coats on today, and I'll keep going until I am happy with it. So there we have it. I applied the last coat of finish yesterday. So what happens now is that just hangs up in the workshop. I wait for a fortnight or so until the finish has hardened off, fully cured, and then I can do the final kind of buffing up and assembly of the instrument. And then in the meantime, I can concentrate on finishing off the acoustic, the standard mandolin. So you can see that the neck has been glued onto the body of the standard mandolin, and the method is exactly the same as on the electric one. I've got this large mortise and these 4 dowels just to make sure everything's really nice and secure forever. The only real difference is that the neck leans backwards, therefore you have a gap between the underside of the fretboard and the top of the soundboard, and that of course has to be filled in by a wedge. So that wedge has to be obviously accurately made so that it lines up with the edges of the fretboard, and in order to make sure that when I glue it on nothing moves and everything is perfectly lined up, you can see I've got all of these little holes here, and of course those holes are indeed the pilot holes for the position markers. So that's a really good method, say, of ensuring that everything lines up perfectly. So yeah, that will now be glued on there with some tight bond. So as you can see, that wedge has now been glued on. It's been blended into the neck, and as you can see, it fills in this gap between the fretboard and the soundboard, giving the correct pitch to the neck so that the strings are at the correct height above the soundboard. So now I can glue the fretboard on. So the fretboard's been glued on, and now I'm going to get it level all the way along its length and then put the compound radius on it. These days I do that all by sanding. I mean, in theory you should be able to plane it or scrape it, but it only needs a little bit of interlocking grain and a tear, and you'll spoil the fretboard. So I would prefer to take my time and sand it. And of course that sanding creates a lot of very dirty, mucky ebony dust. So a top tip is to enshroud the body, particularly that nice clean spruce top, in a plastic bag, and that will keep it clean. Right, so there we have it. The fretboard cleaned up, the compound radius, the camber on the fretboard, inlaid with the position markers, and as you can see, couldn't resist 2 diamonds and a dot on the 12th fret in keeping with the sound hole. Yeah, so that's that surface of the fretboard done. Now it's the time to put the frets in. Well, as you can see, things have moved on, haven't they? Not only have the frets gone in, the neck's been carved, it's had a clean up, and the mandolin has been set up, playing and sounding rather lovely, if I say so myself. So yeah, pleased with the outcome of this. So the next step, similar, very similar indeed to with the electric mandolin in the last video. Take it back down to the basic mandolin, give it a good clean up and start the finishing process. So yeah, that's the next step for this little beauty. So until the next video, thanks for all of your support and taking the time to watch this, and yeah, we'll see you soon. Cheers.